Is this argument going to work? Joining me now here in Aspen is Los Angeles Mayor and Chairman of the Democratic National Convention, Antonio Villaraigosa. Mr. Mayor, thank you very much. Tax, penalty, doesn't matter.
I don't think it matters. They both agree, Governor Romney and President Obama, that it's a penalty. It's a penalty for those who don't buy insurance, and all of us have to pay for the people who are uninsured. So this is basically about personal responsibility. In fact, I think that's what Governor Romney said when it passed. He talked a lot about when Romney Care passed in Massachusetts, he talked a lot about personal responsibility, and I think that's what it is. And what's important is 36 million people are going to have health care now, and people with pre-existing conditions, upwards of 100 million people, young kids who are still living at home will be able to qualify. This is a good thing, and it's certainly a good thing in California, where we are going to establish, we're already in the process of establishing our exchange.
Now, a lot of the governors say that they won't. We've already heard from a number of governors. I'm going to explore that also with Zeke Emanuel coming up. But how can this healthcare system work if potentially, let's say that 26 of the governors, the 26 states that challenge the healthcare and the Supreme Court, decide not to go along with it? You have to achieve scale in order for these exchanges and for these cost savings to be realized. We'll
ramp up that scale, I think, over time. And here at Aspen, I've heard a couple experts speak to that. You're going to see that they're saying now they're not going to implement it, and over time they're going to. Remember, it took Arizona some 20 years, I guess, to implement Medicaid. You're going to see a gradual shift. This is a good thing for people who don't have health care. It's a good thing for all of us. It's going to lower our debt and our deficit. As you know, I think, well, I'll let the experts speak to the exact amount, but it's a positive thing, and I think the governors who say they're not for it right now ultimately will be.
Let me ask you about the convention. You are the chairman of the Democratic Convention. Already we've heard from the West Virginia delegation, except for, of course, Jay Rockefeller, but Joe Manchin, the other senator, and the Congress members not going to the convention. There's very little support in West Virginia for President Obama. Claire McCaskill, in a tough race in Missouri, not going to the convention. What does this say when leading Democrats do not want to be seen at the convention renominating their party leader, President Obama?
Well, I've heard Senator McCaskill talk about it, and she's saying she's going to campaign. That's what you do when you're up for election. You're not taking a day off.
But if the president were that popular with the voters, with the Democrats in Missouri, she would want to be at the convention. She'd want to be in that picture.
We're going to have thousands of people, and the vast majority of Democratic elected officials who are delegates are going to be there. I think it's a lot about nothing. At the end of the day, she's campaigning. I think that's probably true for Senator Manchin as well. And yes, it's true that in some states we got a lot of work to do. That's what campaigns are all about. I expect that the convention will frame the campaign. That's when people will be watching. And it's going to be a very close election, but ultimately I expect that the president will win.
Now, you just saw the Congress finally approving the transportation bill. You fought so hard for this. What are the benefits for people in California?
Well, and thank you for highlighting America Fast Forward and the Surface Transportation Bill and the number of interviews we had. This is great for LA. We're going to be able to accelerate we're going to double the size of our rail system, be able to accelerate a subway and a number of lines. What it means for LA with the extension of Measure R is probably 400,000 jobs in the next decade. And your next speaker, Jane Harman, was a big supporter of that when she was in the Congress. So we appreciate it. It took them a long time. They extended it 11 times. There's $200 billion in it, and about $2 billion for America Fast Forward, which allows cities like my own to accelerate our projects by loaning and then paying the federal government back.
Mayor Antonio Villaraigosa, thank you. We'll be seeing you all summer and, of course, at the convention.
I look forward to it.
Thanks so much. And speaking of infrastructure and things that need to be done in this country, the heat wave that is scorching the East Coast has killed at least